Now that we've darkened our part, we're ready to begin dimensioning. The first thing I'm going to do today is to create a center line. This part lets me know it is symmetric because of the center line going through both the vertical and horizontal axes. That means it's got a long dash, little dash, long dash, little dash, and the line is thin. So what I like to do is start in the middle and put a little dash, about 1/8 of an inch or 1/4 of an inch long, and then go about another inch, skip 1/8, inch, 1/8. You keep doing this all the way down till you're through your part. You'll want to do this both on the horizontal and vertical axes. Once you get your center lines drawn in, you can begin dimensioning. We're going to look at a few dimensions that I think are really important. The first one is over here. Let's take a look at this side. There's a lot going on. So I like to make sure everything is lined up so that way it is professional. I'm going to take, and I'm going to set a light line here that lets me know that I'm going to line up those two dimensions, the 1 1/8 and the 2 1/4 on the same line, and then up a little bit from that. It's about 3/8 of an inch to the next line. Once I establish where I'm going to place each of those dimensions, I'm going to use light dimension lines to create where my numbers are going to go, because remember, we must have our guidelines. When you create an extension line, it doesn't touch the part, and it goes beyond what your dimension line would go. Make sure you're using extension lines. That's how I know what your part is dimensioning. You should also have clearly marked arrowheads. We'll get to that in just a moment. Right now, I'm going to leave a space for my numbers. So you'll notice I just leave a gap. You may be wondering why I am drawing out 4 lines. Each of those lines are a 1/16 inch apart. Each number is going to be 1/8 of an inch tall. And since I'm using both whole numbers and fractions, they need to be centered with each other. Notice for my arrowheads, I only colored in the end. There are templates you can use to create an arrowhead, but just coloring a little bit at the end is okay. This dimension here is 1 1/8. So I'm going to use 2 of my lines, which are 1/16 apart, to create the 1. And then the top 2 and the bottom 2 to create the 1 1/8. The next one is 2 1/4. So I'm going to write that in as 2 in the middle 2 lines, 1 and 1/4 on the top and bottom lines. And lastly, on this one, I have 4 and 1/2. We also have a dimension we're going to put in here, even though it's missing on the original drawing. We're going to use our compass to do this. You put it on the corner point And we're going to adjust it so that it's somewhere in here. And we're going to place just little arcs with a gap in between so I can put my number. Put my little arrowheads on. And for this one, I only need 1/8 inch long guides. And this will say 30 degrees. You want to continue dimensioning in this fashion until you have all of the top part done. Remember to keep things aligned. And then we'll also have the square, which is what I'm going to address next. We want our square to be dimensioned aligned with the square. That means I'm going to use my 45-degree triangle to do this. Again, leave a space. This one's a little bigger. And again, I'm going to put in my 1/16 divisions. Notice there's 4 of them here. And it will say 2 1/8 SQ. Don't forget those arrowheads. The last part of this that I'll worry about is the 45. Using my arc again, I'm going to create lines on the bottom, lines on the outside, arrowheads, and then the 45 is also going to be on an angle. This is called aligned dimensioning. Complete the other 4 dimensions on your own. There should be a dimension that comes to the center, goes to the slot, and that is overall. Make sure they're aligned properly.